Hi, hello, happy Sabbath, and Shabbat Shalom. To concentrate on Fluffy Puffy's poor little sore there, I can't tell if it's still growing or not. This is the less affected part as far as visual. Anyhow, it's not a really pretty thing to look at, but anyhow, she's had that skin lesion on her for a while, and it may still be growing. It's hard to tell. But I've been trying to treat it with a medicinal salve that the veterinarian down in Mountain View gave me. And I gave her some injections that are supposed to both prevent infestation of maggots and nematodes that might otherwise have showed up because of flies landing on it, trying to lay eggs in it. So far, it has not shown signs of infestation. Got myself an umbrella because, it's dripping a little out. See if there's any changes in here that are remarkable. These vines here have started to finally take off and grow. Both this yellow one and this unvariegated one. I trained that over the lamp just so that it would have a place to go without trying to get entangled too much with the avocado plants. Because if we got entangled with them, I might have a problem or damage one plant trying to get them both loose, or both plants. Other than that, the avocados, or little ones, are still just growing bigger, and they really like the amount of light that they have in here, apparently. So other avocado plants that I've tried to have in here struggle. So now that they've got more light, they seem to be doing better. This thing even seems to be doing somewhat better, although lately some of them are tapering off. I don't know if it's got root problems or not. We'll find out eventually, I'm sure. For the most part, except where neglect ended up killing some of the spider plants, a lot of these things are still doing okay. But and a lot of my little spudlets are still alive down there, patiently waiting to be planted. I found some more coffee pots to bring in here to use for planters. That's the only reason I know of to even keep them, is they make decorative planters because they're transparent and they're coffee pots. I've got some Irish seed potatoes over there on the kitchen counter. I'm not going to go in there and turn on lights because Mom's taking a nap, but the idea is that they were all starting to sprout, and because they were starting to sprout, cut off the eyes and sealed the edges so that I can plant them without them spoiling so quickly. The grapes around here are coming along nicely so far, and there's more this year than I've ever seen before, and hopefully that will continue to be the trend. Hopefully they will carry on and produce more and more and more. I've never been this abundant before. Never seen them hanging out over my head before I moved that plywood. And it's really nice, actually, to me to be able to walk under a canopy of grapes. Wish all of them had canopies of grapes, but so far, just this one, to my frustration, pretty much the only one around here with any significant grapes on it. And the only one that has any other grapes on it is not a really significant amount, and they're hard to reach. Whereas that one is all easy to reach, or mostly easy to reach. Alright, get this gate here. So, I repotted these two tomatoes. Umbrella on there. Well, apparently this one is a cherry tomato, golden cherry, hopefully. And these are seedlings that came from previous golden cherry tomatoes we had. So hopefully they'll grow up big and strong and have lots and lots of tomatoes. Now, broccoli and the cauliflower are pretty much to the point where I need to crop some of those stems because they're not going to make flowers. In fact, some of them are already starting new adventurous stems. I sprinkled some of that weird tick granule stuff on there, and it does seem to have slowed down the devouring of the flowers. A little late to figure out that they're there, but you see these things are starting to put up new branches because they're pretty determined they're going to do their thing, whether you approve of it or not. That one cucumber that's really taken off has now got 4 branches on it. So it's looking to become very healthy and become a robust plant. There was one over here that was flowering as well, but for the most part, now I put up new cucumber seeds just like 3 days ago at the most, 2 or 3 days ago. And you see they're already sprouting, germinating. Now, whether they do well, we have yet to see. It's like I don't know if these right here are basil or if they're not. And if they're not basil, well, too bad. They're in there right now and they'll just have to be dealt with later. Of course, the Pennsylvania smartweed is not. And then obviously the mimosa has to be pulled out of there. So it needs to be weeded for sure at the end of the year either way. So anyhow, hopefully pretty soon we'll have some healthy little cucumbers. One way or another. Of course, I'm very grateful that we're finally getting some more rain. It was getting pretty dry out, as it will as we get into this part of the year, as we are, you know, July 11th now. Over here, we have a possum that I'll have to run back to the wilderness here in a few hours after dark. These potato plants, this one is still looking pretty spindly and not real great, but it's still trying. And then that one just barely erupting above the surface. I'll need to put a cage on it soon. And then there's 2 more over here somewhere that haven't decided to come to the surface yet. They're fairly mature sproutlets, so I don't know why they're not, but they don't seem to be all that excited about carrying on from sprouting to growing. We shall see. They looked in pretty good shape when I put them in the ground. Now, over here I've transplanted absolutely everything out of here. So that's just dirt waiting to be reused in some way or another. Over here, the deer, or somebody, keeps eating the leaves off of my... Oh man, they even ate a pepper, it looks like, right here. They bit a pepper off my plants. This is bad. So apparently these little buzzer thingies here don't repel deer. And so unfortunately I'm going to have to find something more aggressive. And I think I know what I'm going to use and how I'm going to hook it up. I've been setting up plans. I'm going to put a high luminosity motion sensor lamp out here that's a big flood lamp, like a porch light, but with multiple facets. And then I'm going to put a hair clipper out here. So the hair clipper will make a very bothersome loud buzzing noise that should drive them off. And it'll cycle on and off in short bursts to scare them, hopefully well enough to keep them away. And the spuds over here have not yet died. They are still chugging away to the best of their ability now that they've got a fence on them. These needed a fence on them, but the stupid varmints keep eating the tomatoes off of this thing. I picked a few. They're making tomatoes. It's just that, like this one was on here yesterday, and today, look at the big bite marks. That's a groundhog. So these monsters are in here eating my tomatoes faster than they can be harvested. So I need to have that alarm device out here to hopefully chase off the food thieves. Be it the deer eating the leaves or the groundhogs eating the fruit. Although I can't say that the groundhogs aren't eating the leaves too to some extent. This thing has put on a few flowers, but so far, especially in this hotter weather, I can't tell that it's put on any fruit yet. It's still growing like a weed. but it ain't fruiting like a tomato yet. Hopefully it will. That's yet to be seen, of course. Over to where I can at least say we've had a little success this year. Because over here, the success rate has been so far significantly greater for the amount of effort involved. As of yesterday, Mom and I each got to enjoy a small, young tender zucchini fruit. There were 2 of them on there, on the biggest plant. And hopefully pretty soon there'll be more, not just on it, but on, of course, all of them. And there's a couple of the tomato seedlings, and apparently that one also is a cherry tomato, so hopefully I'll have lots and lots of golden cherry tomatoes. Although the squirrels will be after them pretty soon too, and the birds. Anyhow, and the watermelons that I transplanted, see, that one has got a little fruit lid on it. But, guarantee you, you give them a couple minutes, them stinking groundhogs will be in here devouring the little green watermelon fruits. So I've got, again, put a repeller up here. I'll put one under the roof to some extent, just keep it dry, both cases. That way it's just a little less prone to fail. Over here, some of the apples are almost ripe, but the groundhog has already robbed one of these too. So they're robbing everything in sight. So I need to have the repellent for this thing as well. Hopefully it works. Hopefully they're not so fearless that they just ignore it. Now, that's all the gardening. Now you notice that the yellow coneflower is starting to come to the end of its blossoming season. Of course, ever durable verbena is still blooming in little bits here and there. It's not everywhere. It's not in large numbers, but it's there in places. Some of them are tougher than others. So yeah, the massive wave of yellow color is starting to fade to a little bit more splotchy yellow with the passing of the flower blossoms into old age. And that's what they do. And then of course the wild petunias in here are just wild petunias, I suppose. I don't know if they're doing well or not because it's late in the afternoon. A lot of them have already finished their morning bloom, and they'll bloom for a long time. From these plants, they'll put on flowers a long time throughout the summer. And those things will bloom practically till frost, those sunflowers. And they appear to be perennial. Wish they were sunchokes, then they'd be edible. Now here, the butterfly weeds, despite the deer, have managed to rally and put a couple blooms on. Not many. We got waxweed coming up. Seems waxweed's generally immune to all the various adverse animals, where stuff like dog's bane has been done in completely by the bugs. Didn't even bloom this year. I'm pretty sure that probably the black-eyed Susans up there are on borrowed time if there's any left up here. Yeah, there's a couple smatterings of them, but not enough to go up and chase. Gladiolas aren't blooming. Some of these other plants have bloomed and made seeds. The crepe myrtle did not flower at all. I have yet to see any passion fruit this year growing anywhere. A lot of the downstairs field flowers are not doing super well yet. The elderberries are still partly in bloom. I'm not going to go down there in the rain, especially with ticks out. So that's pretty much it for flowers this year, or this week anyway. There'll be more flowers later. Oh, there was one ironweed popped up over by the hazelnuts, and so there's only one. Usually there used to be a lot of them. Over here, this contraption is me trying to refine some paraffin for the stairs, and just by consequence it happens to be that I need to put that lid over there on here to keep the moisture out, or water's going to drip down in it if I'm not careful. Although it may be possible here that it's just barely dripping off to one side where I don't have to very much. If a little moisture gets in there, it might not be a problem, I don't know. I mean, really, you don't want water in your paraffin. But short of putting that lid over it, I don't know any way to keep it off of it. So I'm really going to have to take this, and now that these jars have emptied themselves out, take that off. Take this lid here very carefully. I like keeping in there to keep that stuff dry, but right now I really need to keep the paraffin dry more than I do the wood ash and paper ash in the stove. So this, in theory, there, I should keep it dry. All that is it's a hot cooker pot stand that I don't know if it's one that I intentionally stopped using, if it just got moved there for storage, or exactly what, to be truthful with you. Either way, it's pretty much just available, so I used it. Had to rig up a bolt to keep the switch on. Now this thing, I got a coil for it, and it made spark. I've got to sort through some boxes of screws to get this all assembled. Plus, I really want a better gas tank on here. Plus, I'm also thinking about reinstalling the starter motor to it, and also putting, of course, a battery on it so that it's just easier to use. Other than that, the bearings being all ratted out, they were stuck, but also they were corroded. They're in the house. So I pulled them out of this holder here, which is waiting for me to resurface it. And I've repainted the pulley, which had completely been covered in rust and no longer had any paint on it. So hopefully that will help keep it less rusty in the future. I etched it in acid to take off the rust, so I didn't paint over rust. I painted to bare metal. I doubt I'll bother doing that with this, but I will repaint this because it's prone to corrosion. So that's pretty much everything I've been doing this week. My iron sulfate experiment is still chugging along. It's just literally sulfuric acid, water, and steel slowly digesting. I alternately add water and sulfuric acid to it. There's, yeah, it's bubbling right now. It was. It slowly bubbles a little bit all the time, just not necessarily large amounts. But it's just gradually the sulfuric acid is eating up the steel and making it into iron sulfate and probably a little bit of other sulfates because of whatever alloying metals are in the mix that are probably being sulfated as well. But I pretty much wanted it because I want a good, reliable source of iron sulfate that's at a reliable price that I feel is worth the expense. I want enough of it that I don't just waste my time making it. And hopefully that works, because I've already got over probably very close to $20 worth of sulfuric acid in there. So I have no idea if I'm going to get $20 worth of iron sulfate out of metal chips or not, but it's got, oh, I don't know, 5 or more pounds of steel chip to start with. We'll only know when I'm done. I'll have to let it finish reacting completely until there's no solids left, and then I'll have to decant off the black slime, whatever that is. That's something that I also had, that same black slime with the phosphoric acid process. Hopefully it's got phosphoric acid in it, because I took, like I said, I took some triple superphosphate, which is basically, I guess, dicalcium phosphate or some kind of, it's a calcium phosphate of some kind, I forget. It's not, you know, like trisodium phosphate. It's a calcium phosphate, and I think it's actually 2 phosphorus for 1 calcium, but it could also be 2 calcium for 1 phosphorus or something. I don't remember. I'll have to look that back up. But the idea is to make some phosphoric acid for parkerizing metal products, such as steel, that I need to make rust proof. Because I got a lot of that rusty metal going on around here that I'd like to parkerize all kinds of surfaces. Some of them I can't. Like these, I do believe it's going to be like, if I do that, it's going to cause more problems than solutions. But if I could, I guarantee at some point I might try it. I'm going to certainly read up on it. If I can do that, or if I can find a way to use 1 or more nickel plating processes to plate nickel to the surfaces. Something to give it more corrosion resistance. Something I can passivate. I don't know what. Anyhow, so that thing is still sitting there because with the new coil I never did get spark. And so whether that's my fault or a piece of crap coil, I don't know. That's what made it stop in the last place. And so, well, till I can figure it out, it's sitting there gathering dust. And then all my other chainsaws, I've pretty much given hope up on them because nobody sells the cylinder jugs to them. And unless I make cylinder jugs myself, they're never going to run again. They've got spark. They just don't have compression because the cylinders are a wreck. I got brand new pistons for both of them. If I could get them running, I need saws real bad. I got several things I need powered up, and several of them are just waiting on parts that either are on their way. I don't know why, but apparently the bearings that I ordered should have been here, have not arrived or something, unless I misestimated or misunderstood the delivery date. I thought they'd be here by now, but so far they're not. Well, we'll find out when they get here. Anyhow, I was hoping that this key here would work, but you know what it turns out? The back of the key is broken. So, it ain't gonna work. Because the switchy part of it has broken off sometime in the past. Now, I might go get a little electric switch, or I might just use a push button. I've used the push buttons elsewhere, and I have one somewhere. I think I paid $10 for it. A lot of money for a switch, but not as much as it is now for the same switch. It's probably $50, just because of Bidenflation and Chinese tariffs. Anyway, you know, we'll try to figure out a way to make an electric start one way or another, because that little motor should check it all over and make certain it's fine, but I'm pretty sure that motor's runnable. Yeah, it turns. As long as it turns, I can just clean it, re-lube it, and it'll be fine. A little sticky, it sat for years, and that tends to make the bearings get a little stiff and the grease dry out some, but you just put fresh, clean it out, put fresh grease in it, and it'll go for decades more. And then that'll make that electric start, which will make it a world easier to use. And then also having an elevated gas tank will also reduce the need for priming, because it'll have some gravity feed to it. It's designed to be a primed pump carburetor, but those things often don't work right. So the other thing is, though, is the higher the tank, the more you got to have a gas valve on it. So what I'd like to have, would be really wonderful, is have part of my start and run stop mechanism actually be to turn on and turn off the fuel. Because technically, at the end of every day, truthfully, what would be really good is if every time you turned it off, you could just literally turn off the fuel and let the carburetor run dry, because that keeps it from having so much fuel sitting in the bowl, evaporating and varnishing. We shall see. I'm not sure I can pull that off. But, well, that's more than everything that I was done this week. It's included speculation of what I might never end up doing. So, I'm going to quit it here, because I've just made a lot of speculations that may come back to bite me in the butt later on. And hopefully next time I can just give you reports of something meaningful. Till then, I hope you all have a blessed coming week and a restful rest of your Sabbath, and good, spiritually rewarding, and that everything goes good for y'all. And that you get all the rain you need, except no flooding, preferably. So bye for now, and again, Shabbat Shalom.